You might think you understand your dog. Every bark, every wag of the tail, every loving glance becomes so familiar that you believe you can detect even the smallest change. But what if I told you that sometimes the most painful voice is the one you can't hear? Some dogs will bark. Some will whimper when they're in pain, but others choose a silence so chilling. They don't limp, they don't complain, they just sit there, their eyes gradually going hollow. The food bowl still sits full, the tail no longer wags, and you tell yourself, maybe he's just getting older. But deep down, you know something isn't right. Some subtle shift you can't quite name, as if your dog is trying to tell you something it has no words for. Dogs are masters of endurance. Over thousands of years living with humans, they've learned to hide their pain, not because they're strong, but because they love you. In their world, weakness means being left behind, so they choose silence, they endure. They smile even when hurting, sleep through the ache, and look at you with kind eyes, hoping that you'll see before it's too late. That's why you need to keep watching. Because in this video, you'll learn 5 subtle but vital signs you might ignore and thus never realize your dog is suffering in silence. These aren't simply theories. They're backed by science and confirmed by the bond between you and your 4-legged friend. And the first sign starts with the most familiar place in your home, the food bowl. Part 1. The speaking bowl. If there's one place that reflects both your dog's health and spirit, it's the food bowl. For years you've known the routine. The moment the spoon hits the bowl, your dog springs forward like wind-eyes, glowing tail, wagging furiously, the house alive with energy. But one day you notice something odd. The bowl is still there, the food's still fragrant, and your dog approaches, sniffs lightly, then walks away. The eyes are no longer bright. The movement slow, as if eating has become an effort. You tell yourself, maybe he's over this flavor. I'll try something else tomorrow. But tomorrow comes and the next day and nothing changes. What many don't realize is that dogs seldom change their eating habits without reason. A healthy dog will only refuse food when something inside body or mind is trying to signal distress. Loss of appetite is among the earliest red flags that something internal is wrong. It could be dental pain, arthritis, making it hard to bend over, digestive issues, or even mild canine depression, as recent studies in Frontiers in Veterinary Science have confirmed. When pain smolders quietly, dogs don't bark or moan. Instead, they simply stop eating. Interestingly, pain doesn't always suppress eating. Some dogs do the opposite. They eat ravenously, as though trying to fill an unseen void inside. A shift in pace or attitude toward food, whether increased or decreased, is a body language you need to heed. Because your dog's bowl isn't just a vessel for sustenance. It's a mirror to its emotions, a silent health bulletin. So next time your dog hesitates before a meal, don't rush to change its food or dismiss it as finicky. Look deeper, watch its eyes, posture, breathing. Because behind that still full bowl may lie the first whisper of growing pain. And when mealtime stops being joy, what disappears next is often connection. The moment it stops rushing to you, stops waiting by the door. That is the second sign. Part 2. The silent distance. In the past, wherever you went, it followed, always just behind you. Patient, gentle, never letting you vanish from sight. The moment you stood, it sensed your intention. The moment you left, it stood waiting. But one day you notice you leave the room, yet it remains on its little bed, barely opening its eyes before turning away. You think it might be tired, or the weather's chilly, or maybe it just wants quiet. But what few notice is this: when a dog stops following you, it's not because it loves you less, but because something in its body is preventing it. For dogs, staying close is more than habit, it's instinct. It's how they express love, loyalty, and a sense of safety. So when yours begins to withdraw, no longer trailing behind you, no longer greeting you eagerly, it's rarely boredom. Every step, every rise becomes an effort. When pain lurks in joints or muscles, they conserve movement. The more they hurt, the more they pull inward. The weaker they become, the quieter they are. Researchers in Frontiers in Veterinary Science have pointed out that withdrawn behavior and reduced social interaction are very early signs of chronic pain and emotional distress in dogs. Many assume dogs only need food and sleep, but for them, connection is what sustains their spirit. When that link begins to fray, when distance grows between you and them, something in their body or soul is breaking. What's heartbreaking is that in that moment they don't want you to worry. They choose silence, choose to lie still, choose to gaze at you from afar. They believe that if they don't complain, you'll be peaceful. That is a dog's love enduring hidden tears, sealed in silence. If one day you step out and it no longer follows, don't take it as it's getting more independent. Take it as a message. Go to it, sit beside it softly. Say its name, place your hand on its back, and let your heart listen to what its mouth cannot say. Because sometimes its silence is its faintest cry, and then you'll begin to see that this silence isn't confined to daytime. It creeps into the night, into the quiet breaths, the tossing and turning on the old bed. Because when the world sleeps, another struggle begins within it. That is third sign. Part 3. Sleepless Nights. It all starts small. One night you hear a shift, then another a sigh in the darkness. You open your eyes to find it there uneasy. It tosses, changes. Positions, sighs again as though trying to find a comfortable place it can't. You tell yourself it may be dreaming or the bed's too hard or that it's simply tired, but dogs don't change sleep routines without cause. Sleep is as essential to a dog as it is to us. When healthy, they sleep deeply for hours, unmoved, undisturbed. But when pain seeps in, sleep becomes a battlefield. Every turn whispers of aching joints. Every heavy breath signals discomfort. A soft whimper claws brushing the mattress. Constant repositioning all our bodies, seeking relief in silence. A 2024 study in Frontiers in Veterinary Science revealed that sleep disruption is one of the earliest indicators of chronic pain in dogs. When darkness falls, when distractions fade, pain emerges. It's in the night that they face what the day bury. If your dog suddenly becomes restless, wakes often, shifts its sleep spot frequently, or sleeps excessively during the day, do not chalk it up to aging. Disturbed sleep is not a hallmark of aging, it is an internal alarm. It could stem from inflamed joints, gastrointestinal pain, or emotional fatigue as it battles loneliness. Sadly, most dogs won't bark out their pain. They quietly endure, turning, twisting, striving to rest in a body that won't let it. That small shadow beneath your bed becomes a silent warrior fighting in darkness for relief. So if one night you wake and see it uneasy, don't turn away. Watch it closely. Because sometimes pain doesn't roar in daylight, it whispers in night's breath. And when sleep can no longer be its refuge, the body turns to other outlets, repetitive movements, small compulsions as if trying to push the pain away. That is the fourth sign. Part 4. Eyes losing light. One day you look into your dog's eyes and sense something has shifted. It's the same face, the same gaze that once melted your heart, that made you believe you two understood each other without speaking. But now something's changed. The look becomes quieter, wearier, and sometimes it seems to see through you rather than toward you. Dogs can't speak, yet their eyes carry 1,000 unspoken words. Joy, trust, fear, pain. They all can be seen if you're paying attention. When the body begins to break or the spirit grows weary, their face changes. Hair around the eyes droops, the brow furrows slightly, the eyelids sag, and the gaze becomes distant. Many dismiss this as aging, but in truth, it's the body speaking what the mouth cannot. A 2023 study in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior showed that dogs experiencing chronic pain often demonstrate subtle facial changes even before other symptoms surface. Veterinarians call these micro-expressions tiny shifts that hold profound truth. When the light leaves a dog's eyes, one vet said it's time to look closer. Pain in dogs doesn't always scream through whimpers or limping. Sometimes it hides in a sad gaze, a hesitation when making eye contact. If you've lived with your dog long enough, you'll feel it. The way it looks at you and turns away. The way eyes once bright now lie still like a calm pond. That's not coldness, it's a silent plea. Sometimes you'll see it sitting quietly in a corner, not moving, not barking, just staring off into space as though contemplating something you can't understand. It may be enduring, suppressing discomfort so you won't worry. And maybe deep inside, it's waiting for you to come close, waiting for a touch for your return gaze. Just watch closely and you'll see that its love and pain live together in those eyes. So when you sense that its gaze isn't what it used to be, don't ignore it. Sit down with it, speak, even if it can't answer. Let it know you're still here, that you see it, that you hear what it can't say. because sometimes what a dog needs most isn't medicine or a veterinarian first, it's the eyes that first recognize the pain. And as the light fades from its eyes, the body begins to speak in other ways, licking repetitive movements, small gestures as if pushing the ache outward. That is the fifth sign. Part 5. The Body's Quiet Rebellion. All stories of pain begin small and sometimes in places you least expect. One day you see your dog bend to lick its leg. At first you shrug its grooming as normal, but then it repeats over and over throughout the day. It licks so much that fur thins skin, reddens, then it nibbles, it bites, trying to remove some invisible burden. You say softly, "Don't do that," and it stops for a moment, but soon it begins again. Many dismiss this as strange behavior, boredom, or habit, but in most dogs it's how their body speaks when they don't know how else to cope. When joints, nerves, or muscles ache, the brain sends signals that drive licking in that area, a self-soothing instinct. But that comfort lasts only moments, then becomes an obsessive pattern that damages their own skin. A study at the University of Lincoln, UK, found that continuous licking or biting in dogs is often linked not merely to stress or anxiety, but also to chronic pain, especially joint or nerve pain. In many cases, dogs are misdiagnosed with behavioral disorders when really they're trying to soothe internal agony. The more they hurt, the more they lick. The more they lick, the more they harm themselves. And if you look more closely, you'll notice not only licking, but movement changes. They no longer leap onto sofas, no longer bound up stairs with joy. They rise slowly, sit with effort, each step hesitant, heavy, not because they're lazy, but because their body resists. Those joints, those weary muscles, even mild pain is enough to shift every routine that once brought joy. Experts at Cornell University's Canine Health Center affirm dogs hide pain until they absolutely can't. They'll keep walking, keep playing until the body forces its voice. When you see hesitation before climbing a step, slowness rising, that's not aging, that's a silent plea from the body. Never assume its silence is acceptance. In truth, it's a form of endurance. It refuses to burden you with its pain. But bodies don't lie. The licking, the limping, even the fleeting glance before standing, all are small signals you must hear. And when the body grows weary, when movement is a weight, the most painful part isn't the ache, it's having to bury it, hiding true feelings so as not to make you worry. That is the final and most heart-touching sign. Part 6. Pain Hidden by Love. There's something few people realize. Dogs don't hide pain. Out of fear, they do it out of love. From the dawn of our relationship thousands of years ago, their instincts shifted. In the wild, revealing weakness meant danger. But when living alongside humans, the only reason a dog keeps hiding its pain is so you don't have to worry. If you've seen your dog struggle to stand, yet still push itself up, or stumble, yet force itself to greet you, you've witnessed that love. It doesn't want you to think it's weakening, doesn't want you to be sad. So it smiles, wags its tail, tries to act joyful. But behind that strength sometimes lies a body in agony and a heart afraid that if it shows weakness, you might worry. Or worse, walk away. A 2024 article in Scientific American showed that dogs can adjust their expressions when around their owners. They'll hide fatigue or pain when they sense you're worried. Scientists call it emotional suppression. It sounds magical, but really it's love in its most silent form. Watch keenly. There may be a quick glance when you ask, "Are you okay?" A weak tail wag when it forces a greeting. A shaky step, just so it can lie next to you a little longer. These aren't just loyalty, they're times of sacrifice. It endures, hides pain just to keep your heart calm. Maybe what moves us most in dog ownership isn't their joy, but recognizing they love us so deeply they'll suffer in silence. They never resent, never demand. When hurt, they don't leave. They lie still beside you, resting their head on your legs, as if to say, "I'm okay, don't worry." But inside, they're pleading for your attention more than ever. So if you sense something amiss, even in gaze, gait, or breath, don't wait until it's too late. Go near, call their name, place your hand gently on their back, let them know you're here, that you understand. Because a dog's pain might be quiet, but your love shouldn't ever be silent. What you just heard are not merely 5 signs, but 5 ways to love more deeply, more sensitively. When you truly understand your dog's body language, you do more than save its health, you preserve that sacred bond between two hearts, one speaking, one silent. And if this video helps you see your dog with kinder eyes, with more understanding, don't forget to share your story below. Every comment is a reminder that human dog love has never been just about care, it's about listening. In the next video, we'll talk about the position dogs choose to lie close to your heart and why it can reflect their deepest emotions. If you want to continue this journey, stay with us, because sometimes what makes the world feel less lonely is a soft touch from a silent paw.